live, and welcome. I believe we are now live streaming.
This meeting is being recorded.
Now we are being recorded. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Paul Sugarman, and this is the Instant Shakespeare Company. And today, March 27th, is World Theater Day, as I'm sure everyone knows. Yes, hooray, hooray for World Theater Day. Well, I think probably if you're an American, I didn't really know until just a few years ago about World Theater Day, because it is by some place in France first originated it, the International Theatre Institute, International Theatre Institute. And so, of course, in this country, we have a tendency to ignore anything that sort of looks at the world in general, and comes from the French in particular. But anyways, it really is a great day, and it's been its mission since it was founded in 1961 is to promote theater and share the joy of theater in all of its many manifestations all around the world. And I think that is something that we really need to have, is an international perspective that as people, as not as governments, but as people, we are in solidarity with the vast majority of people all around the world, many of whom are suffering because of the egos of our leaders. And the World Theater Day was really about promoting theater as something for peace, because it's about getting greater understanding through learning empathy. So that's why I think it's a really great thing to celebrate, a really great thing to encourage Americans to celebrate. The message is this year they get somebody to give a message about it, and this year it's by Willem Dafoe. And I encourage people to look for it and find it. I will probably post things to it on Facebook and send out emails, because it's a really terrific letter. And he talks about working with the Worcester Group, and even sometimes when when there was very little audience, but still that sense of community. And part of what he says is, like the sign in the gambling hall says, you must be present to win. Shared experience in real time of an active creation that may be scored and designed, but is always different, is certainly the obvious strength of the theater. Socially, politically, theater has never been so important and vital to our understanding of ourselves and the world. And also he says further on, great theater is about challenging how we think and encouraging us to imagine what we aspire to. So, he's got a lot of really great things to say. As past people, the very first person who did the World Theater Day message was Jean Cocteau. And other people such as Peter Brook and Helen Mirren have also given the message. And so we want to do that. And so that's why we celebrate World Theater Day. For me, it's also a very important personal day, because March 27th was also my parents' birthday. My parents shared the same birthday. My father was 2 years older, but March 27th was their birthday. And so it's just by its coincidence that also World Theater Day ends up being their birthday. And so since my father was a playwright, I like to celebrate his plays. And I'm very excited that tonight there will be the premiere of CAT TV, Catamount Access Television in Bennington, Vermont, recorded the production of Players, 3 plays about the theater by Robert Sugarman, my father, in 2023, which he loved the production. He went and saw it every night, and it made him so happy. And it ended up, it was just 2 weeks before he ended up passing away. So it was really such a great thing for him to have that validation of having this show and getting so many people to see his work and to enjoy it. And so I hope you will do that. I've also decided, since, this is World Theater Day, and we do have some international participants. So we're also going to try another forum at 9 o'clock tonight. If people want to come on and share some of their joy of the theater and share some pieces, some speeches, or whatever, that's what it's all about. So happy World Theater Day! All the world's a stage. So I could go into the whole speech, but I will sort of first open the floor, and I will probably do that a little bit later. So does anybody have anything they would like to share? Jerry Lynn.
I have something Irish.
That's great.
I have something Irish, something English, something Greek, and something French. And they're all
international of you. Thank you.
I'll do the Irish one first. I'm hoping I'll remember all these.
Great.
Mr. Rice came to see me one night before he went away. I was propped up in bed, drifting in and out of sleep, and he stood swaying at the side of the bed for maybe 5 minutes, just gazing at me. Then he took both my hands in his and said, "I'm sorry, Molly Sweeney. I'm so sorry." My eyes were shut. And off he went. I suppose it was mean of me to pretend I was asleep, but the smell of whiskey was suffocating. And the night nurse told me on his way down the front steps he nearly fell. I suppose I see nothing at all now, but I'm not absolutely sure of that. Anyhow, my borderline country is where I live there. I'm at home there. Well, it is there. It doesn't bother me anymore that what I think I see may be fantasy, or indeed what I take to be imagined may very well be real. What's Frank's term? External reality, fact, fiction, real, imagined, fantasy, reality. There it seems to be. And it seems to be all right. Why should I question any of it?
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's so great. That's from
Molly Sweeney.
And the playwright, that's Friel, right?
Yeah, it's Friel.
So many great, wonderful Irish writers. I mean, the Abbey Theatre, and just so much great history and great stuff, and the Irish theatre being such an important part of. I mean, so many great playwrights and poets of Ireland, because I think one of the things about the Irish is just they really appreciate the joy of language, of the sounds, of all of that. And I mean, especially with Brian Friel, he's such a wonderful playwright. So thank you. It's great. Do we want to, I know we'll come back to you and we'll have something else. And Jackie, you got something you want to?
Is Ken available?
Yes.
Okay, we were going to do, it's the second scene in Richard II.
Yes, I couldn't find my copy of that play. I don't know if I have one, but I'm looking for it. I can use my phone now to.
Wait a second. I sent you the scene, didn't I? I have the scene.
Yes, but while I'm on this, I can't see it.
Oh.
I can't do both.
Oh.
So I'm looking for the play on my phone now, which.
Well, that's what I said.
Yes.
I send it to you on your phone.
Yes, I was going to write it all out myself, but I can use this. I'm almost there, and we can start. Yes, I'm here. I have it. Did you want me to do the first line? Do we start from Alas the Part?
Let's start where Alas the Part I hadn't glossed. We're doing the whole scene, so you're going to do him, and I'm going to do her.
Okay. Alas, the part I had in Woodstock's blood doth more solicit me than York's claims to stir against the butchers of his life. But since correction lieth in those hands which made the faults that we cannot correct, put we our quarrel to the will of heaven, who when they see the hours ripe on earth will rain hot vengeance on offenders' heads.
Finds brotherhood me no sharper spur, hath love in thy old blood no living fire. Edward's 7 sons were of thy south are one, were 7 vials of his most sacred blood, were 7 fair branches springing from one root. Some of those 7 are dried by nature's course, some of those branches by the destinies cut. But Thomas, my dear Lord, my life, my Gloucester, one vial full of Edward's sacred blood, one flourishing branch of his most royal root is cracked, and all his precious liquor spilled, his hacked down, and his summer leaves all faded by envy's hand and murder's bloody axe. Ah, Gaunt, his blood was thine, that bed, that wound, that nettle, that self-mold, that fashioned thee, made him a man. And though thou livest and breathest, yet art thou slave to him. Thou dost consent in some large measure to thy father's death, and that thou seest thy wretched brother die, who was the model of thy father's life. Call it not patience, Gaunt, it is despair. In suffering thus thy brother to be slaughtered, thou showest the naked pathway to thy life, teaching stern murder how to butcher thee, that which in mean men we entitle patience, is pale, cold cowardice in noble breasts. What shall I say? To safeguard thine own life, the best way is to avenge my Gloucester's death.
God's is the quarrel, for God's substitute, his deputy anointed in his sight, hath caused his death, the which if wrongfully let heaven revenge, for I may never lift an angry arm against his minister.
Where then last may I complain myself?
To God, the widow's champion and defence.
Where then I will. Farewell, O Gaunt. Thou goest to Coventry, there to behold our cousin Hereford and fell Mowbray fight. Oh, sit my husband's wrongs on Hereford's spear, that it may enter butcher Mowbray's breast. If misfortune miss the first career, be Mowbray's sin so heavy in his bosom that they may break his foaming curses back and throw the rider headlong in the lists. A caitiff recreant to my cousin Hereford. Oh, farewell, O Gaunt, thy sometimes brother's wife, with her companion grief must end her life.
Sister, farewell. I must to Coventry, as much good stay with thee as go with me.
Yet one more word. Grief boundeth where it falls, not with the empty hollows, but with it. I take my leave before I have begun, for sorrow ends not when it seemeth done. Commend me to my brother, Edmund York. Lo, this is all. Yet not depart, yet, though this be all, do not so quickly go. I shall remember more. Bid him what? With all good speed at Plushy visit me. Alack, and what shall good old walk there to see but empty lodgings and unfurnished walls, unpeopled offices, untrodden stones? What here therefore welcome but my groans? Therefore commend me, bid him not come there to seek out sorrow that dwells everywhere. Oh, desolate and will I hence die? The last leave of thee takes my weeping eye. And
Wow, great job. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. That's so wonderful. I mean, and also one of the things that sort of struck me in doing that is that I think one of the things that makes Shakespeare truly modern and was a sense that even though the parts were played by men, he really gave women voices in a way that many other playwrights didn't. Like in terms of when you look at Marlowe, I mean, I haven't read all of Marlowe and all of that, but it, from what I have, it's mostly just male voices
Just male.
that Marlowe was interested in, and but also that reminds me that it's like there's all of this stuff in this scene that then you don't hear about in the rest of the play, but it is this interesting backstory, and that there was another play called Thomas of Woodstock, which is sometimes thought of as Richard II, Part 1, which is sort of dealing with all of this, and which it's possible there were references to it. And one of the things that when our dear friend Stephen Brown, who passed away a couple of years ago, he did this a really amazing project where we did Zoom readings of the plays from Edward II to Richard III.
Yes.
And doing Edward II is actually Marlowe, and then also including other plays by other playwrights than Shakespeare that cover some of the other things, such as parts of Edward IV's reign and other things, and also this play Thomas of Woodstock. So, and I did just recently update our on our YouTube channel, because the Instant Shakespeare Company has a YouTube channel for all of our videos like this and our readings and such, that I've created a couple of new playlists. One of them, which is that Shakespeare, that history series that Stephen had put together. And then also another playlist of the ones that I've found so far, of the ones that Stephen Brown playmastered. Because, he was such a... he had such great sort of contacts and really put together some really amazing casts for his things. And he also did many interesting things in addition to Shakespeare, such as the Lorca play that was actually his last reading with us, and other lots of other really great things. And also that's one of the things the Instant Shakespeare Company likes to do, is to celebrate, theater and the sort of great dramatic literature that a lot of people aren't aware of. That's why with Shakespeare, we do all of the plays, and including, Richard II, where you have such rich stuff in there. And also other companies, such as David Cedar and the Shaw Project, which does readings of plays of Shaw and other plays of interest. He's actually put together a Zoom reading we're doing on Sunday of Epicene by Ben Jonson. I hope that's the right way to pronounce it. I'll have to check on that. And also with Simone Kunrad with Molière Rendezvous, where we've done a lot of Molière readings as well, including, some things where there aren't really very many English translations available. And one of the things, though, that I've sort of found out from that is that Molière, we all know the comedies of Molière, and I thought, oh, he just wrote comedies, right? No, he wrote a lot of other things, but, the other things just, it's his comedies that are really great. So, but, so, I think that's, it's important. And this is Zoom, unfortunately, it's not the same as being together as to what real live theater is. As of being in the same place together, but it is a way that we can connect with people who are in different places and in different parts, and so you don't have to go as far. So, and it's.
Can I ask a question? When was the first woman who played in Shakespeare? I remember reading that all of a sudden a woman started to do Shakespeare in England.
When they came back after they were exiled. So it was not during Charles I, who was lost his head, and then the Puritans were in. There was no theater happening, but the players went to France and Italy, and they learned because there were women players there. It was men and women in France and Italy. So then, when it was the next king came in, a king came back. It was like
Charles II.
Charles II. When Charles II came back, all the players who had been in Italy and in France, a lot of them were able to come home and do things there. And they brought with them the fact that, hey, women can be actors too. So that was when it went open.
And it was also, one of the great things, Charles II he was good time Charlie. He really liked partying, and one of the most popular actresses of the time, Nell Gwynn, was also mistress as well.
Right.
So that was the whole thing of having women in the theater was like, that's the way it is now, so.
I read the play Lettuce and Lovage, and in it they talk about Charles, and Charles had to hide in the trees because people were always after him because he was always in trouble for something. hide in the trees. It's a great. You ever read by Schaefer, Lettuce and Lovage?
I have it and I have to read it. I found it in my laundry.
Her mother started a Shakespeare troupe, and
Ah.
they went all the way all over France doing Shakespeare in French. It's
Cool.
a very interesting play.
I'm gonna
Schaefer.
take a look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, really great. Yeah.
And there's a cat in that play, isn't
Yeah,
there?
there is a cat. She is a cat, right? She is a cat.
I remember reading about when they were doing the original production on Broadway with Maggie Smith.
Who played the cat?
Oh, I
Well,
think
they had some trouble with the cat. The cat was very well trained, but people were spoiling him or her too much and
yeah, right.
petting the cat, and then for some reason the cat refused to do what
It wanted
he or
its
she
own
was
dressing
supposed
room.
to do. Yeah.
I've got
She talks
Moliere.
about the cooking meals at that particular time. She talks about how puffins were served in that time. And puffins is like a little bird. You find them in Iceland, things like that.
Yes.
She discusses
That's
different kinds
sad.
of drinks and things. It's a wonderful play just because there's a lot of references to what was going on in like the 1500s, their
Yeah.
tableware, their food, It's a good play for everybody to read. Not just, I think there's one male part in it, actually. If I remember, I have to pull it out. I have it somewhere on my shelf. I never find anything again.
I have a Moliere.
Yeah, I have lots of them. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, you want to share
Yeah.
some Moliere?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yes.
Okay, there goes the Moliere. No sign of him. I call it animosity. To flit like that and foil my curiosity. Now I'm convinced he's up to something. What? The little that I saw explains a lot. At last I understand. Freezing glances, I get an answer to my chaste advances. He's saving his embraces for some younger acquaintance, while I, poor woman, hunger. They're all alike, these husbands in captivity. Give them their freedom, and they take a liberty. In the beginning, they're all steam and fire, kisses and poetry. But then they tire and leave us on our own. It's obvious they're giving others what belongs to us. Let's modify the law till it allows a wife to change her husband like a blouse. That would be wonderful. And quite a few other abandoned wives would like it too.
That's cute.
Yes.
Great. Excellent. Thank you.
Very physical piece when I do it in an audition. It's like, running all over the place and doing all this stuff, but there's so much you can do on Zoom.
And which play that's
It's from The Imaginary Cuckold. And it's the wife who thinks she's being wrong, but actually she's not. And the husband thinks he's being wrong, but actually he's not. They just see the wrong things. They keep coming out and seeing each other,
yeah.
having perfectly innocent encounters with another person, but they misinterpret it.
I think that one has a missing scene. I think I did that in a showcase where I was in the missing scene and I had to sing in it too. I had to sing from the balcony and tell everybody about my lover who left me. And I am not a soprano, I am an alto. And there was a pianist who could not change notes. So I had to sing this long, long song and try to fit into her music. It was not very easy.
It's not easy.
I love doing a Moliere play. It was like a really, really.
Moliere is so much fun. Yeah, I did one at the old West Side Repertory Theater. It was a theater and did classics, and it was in a basement on the Upper West Side near Zabar's or something. It's one of those little theaters that are long gone, But I did some Moliere or other there, I remember. It was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, that was the old day when I used to work a lot before my mind started to go. Right.
My mind's always been gone. And
I pulled out some of my old scripts the other days and I saw something I did. I said, I did this. Everything was one-liners, a 3-act play, and everything was like one-liners.
Oh, that's so hard. That's harder than mine.
I said, God almighty, I had a mind. I really, really learned all this. And I did. I did. It was like, it's amazing some of the stuff you pull out and you say to yourself, did I really do that? It was really, yeah.
I read papers that I wrote in French and Spanish in college, and I'm like, or my linguistics notebook.
Yeah. I was never that smart. I always just stuck to English. Right?
I was not smart in math. Science was difficult. History and languages were easy.
Yeah, well, it's like everybody's got different modes of learning, different ways that things work for them, and it's unfortunate that I mean, and I think that's one of the glories of theater is that it expresses differences and individuality and makes you understand things that are sort of outside of the box, as opposed to our educational system, which has become increasingly focused just on tests and just sort of quantifying things and putting it into numbers. But that doesn't, I mean, what makes someone have a good education is if they have teachers that inspire them to want to learn and that they keep learning. You know, that is really the important thing, to ignite a curiosity about the world and a desire to do something to make it better. You know, that's what the basis of education should be. And you can't really find that on a multiple choice test or have AI fake it for you, you know. And so.
Well, Paul, I'm going to have to go. Thanks for this. I had a nice time. I'm glad you reminded me of that series of history plays that Stephen did. I'm very honored to have taken part in that. And I'm glad it was when the computer was still working that I could simultaneously look at the scripts, because today I wouldn't have been able to do it because I stopped being able to do that for some reason. My computer stopped doing it, but I'm glad. And do you recall the name of that Lorca play? It was Death something to do with death?
Let me just, what was it?
I suppose I can look it up, but that was the last
Isn't it
thing.
bloodletting? Was it bloodletting?
Bloodletting, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a new translation by Eduardo, who's participated in some of the readings as well.
And you say that was the last thing that Stephen playmastered for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is sad.
I did a play with him where he asked me to play a French king. And I got there and I was going to use a French accent. And he hired all his own people. I didn't know who these people were. And everybody spoke French. It was the most uncomfortable situation I've ever been, because I hadn't spoken French since I was in junior high school, you know, like really, you know, embarrassing, right? But I'm thinking, God Almighty, I have to have an accent, and they're all speaking French. And it was like, and I know it's funny, I never worked with him after that, because it seemed he didn't like me because I wasn't who he expected me to be. And that was to give me a French king and then have everybody who speaks French was like, I felt like he was like saying something, and that was it. But I didn't like, I liked him. I thought he was great when he was funny. The only thing I didn't like him in is Salome, because I thought he just wasn't, what's the guy in Hercules or whatever, the one he cuts off his hair, which character is that?
What, you mean Herod?
Samson and Delilah, one of them he played, I think Samson, where she cuts off his hair. And I was thinking he's too skinny. I kept thinking he was too skinny. The guy who played it in not Burt Lancaster, but like one of those big brawny guys had played it. And I think that's why he didn't like me anymore, because I was thinking he was too skinny. Anyway, you know.
That was very nice. Oh, and by the way, Paul, everything went well with my CAT scan of my chest.
Great. Good to hear it.
Nothing to be concerned about now. And also with my visit to Dr. Kotsina on Wednesday. But I'll tell you more about that some other time. So happy World Theater Day, everyone.
Yeah, happy World Theater Day, Ken. Thanks for coming by.
You again soon.
Ken, for reading with me. That was okay. I've never done the last part of that scene. I kind of worked on a little piece as a monologue years ago, but I never did the whole scene. So it was fun to do it the first time.
Yeah.
It turned out very nice. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah.
Okay, so long.
All right. Bye. So, that really, it is great to be able to get into these pieces. I mean, because with Richard II, I mean, a lot of times in production, I mean, that scene is way cut down. you know, because it doesn't really, I mean, it caps you up on like what happened in Thomas of Woodstock, but
Yeah.
most people are just sort of Richard II's only about Richard II, which it's not, but it's such a, and it is one of the, it's like about the only that and King John are like the ones where they say that it's like completely in verse.
It's a really nice play. I saw Austin Pendleton play Richard II, and he seemed like when he's in prison at the end and he has that long, long monologue. I found it very sad, very interesting to see him do that because Richard is kind of a weak person. You know, his wife is always abusing him. So I thought he kind of seemed to really fit that role. I liked it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is. I mean, yeah, it's sort of interesting. I mean, I've seen several productions of it, but one of the ones that I saw was up at Shakespeare and Company with Rocco Sisto as Richard II. I mean, and if you've ever seen Rocco Sisto, he's a great actor. He's like the best Caliban I've ever seen. He's a big guy and he's got just such power and so that it in a ways he did a great job and actually he did make it work, but as the production it was sort of it's like
Weird. That should have been Bolingbroke. He could have been a good Bolingbroke.
well, I mean, and it was because he wanted to do it, and he did a great job with it. But it's still it's like there is that sort of challenge of it, and
It's a disconnect if the actor physically isn't as most people would imagine the character to be. Of course, one can do it, but there's like this, you have to
That's why I liked Austin. There was something about seeing him sitting in prison, you know, and speaking like it like kind of hit me. It was good.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
the guy really shouldn't have been king to begin with, but with the divine right of kings, you know, that because he's the grandson of Edward III, you know, he becomes over all of his uncles, you know, because his father was Edward the Black Prince, and the way it went was all of that. So yeah, it's also a good reminder since there's another No Kings rallies tomorrow. You know,
tomorrow. Yes.
that I think Shakespeare, with all of its things, all of the many kings and things in his plays, really does sort of point out that it's mostly a bad idea.
Yeah,
People
it
wear
really
masks.
work. It doesn't
There's
always
no
work.
kings. So many people. Do you go to those things? I don't go to those things because
I go to those things. Yes.
I don't because I worry about COVID. Plus, I'm limping around these days, so I'm
No,
not going.
it's you can't. I don't stay for the whole, like I go for as long as I can and then I leave, you know.
It's a good idea for people to be wearing masks, though, because I think there's still COVID around. I'm not sure. I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's
Oh,
still
yeah.
COVID around. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Now there's measles and who knows what else because we
Oh, we're
don't
going to
have
get a lot more. We're going to get a lot of because the CDC
Yeah.
is being dismantled. So yeah,
I
yeah.
Yeah,
have
they're going to take the last C off. We'll just be the Centers for Disease. I mean,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
we'll sort of try and keep track of some of the diseases, I guess, you know, but it's like
Yeah.
the
The
Center
ones-
for Disease Control. Like, let's try and control diseases. Like, let's try and get people vaccinated because that is like the greatest medical miracle, you know, of
Things.
Well,
Jennings
Kennedy should get measles and chickenpox. Maybe that changes mind.
he got
Yeah.
COVID. He was still, you know, against the vaccine.
Yeah, well, you remember that video where the guy sort of collapsed in the White House? I mean, while they were having this sort of event for something, and this guy kind of got sick and like fainted, and Kennedy was there, and he just like rabbited out of there. It's like, oh my God, somebody's sick! Yikes!
What a bunch of bozos. We got a Department of Injustice now. We've got a Center for Disease. We've got God knows what we've got.
Yeah, I can't believe what's going on in this country, in the United States, what's going on, period. He just sent like 1,000 troops over to Iran. I mean, it's like
Shit
scary.
show.
Scary.
Shit show.
That's for sure. I have two grandsons. I hope he did. I don't think he's going to have a draft. He seems to, but
He will.
it's killing young people off, you know, and I have young in their 20s, but they're already out of school and they don't have kids and they're not married. It's kind of a scary, you know.
Very scared.
Fingers crossed. Hope is.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a
Well,
shit.
That's kind of scary.
It's going to be an increasing shit show. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, but it's so unfair, you know, like he's killing off young men and women in this country, and it sucks.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and also, I mean,
Everybody all over
the
the
people
world.
we're killing off, and we've been supporting the killing off of people all over
That's right.
the world, especially, I mean, enabling Israel
In Gaza, right.
to do what they're doing in Gaza and also in the West Bank, where they're
yeah, horrible.
and just and all of these things where it's like where you're bombing where civilians are, even if there's some terrorists in there when you're getting them, that is not acceptable. You're
It
still
is not acceptable.
it's a crime against civilians. Is a crime against humanity, and
Yes.
But we don't seem to care about that. But we will sort of then take the. I mean, it's like we go to war with Iran, but then we take the restrictions off their oil sales. What the hell is that? I mean, it makes no sense. But anyways, so enough. I mean, yes, we have a lot of things that are crazy, but there's a lot of things for hope and stories, and that's what most plays are stories of people sort of dealing with things, and some of it is inspirational, some of it is not, some of it is like life, you know. I mean, because the whole point of it, as Shakespeare said, is it's to hold the mirror up to nature, to show virtue her own feature, scorn her own image, and the very age and body of the time, his form and pressure.
I like the line in Richard where she says she hopes the horses collapse under his weight, right? And steps on him. You know, if he misses, his arrows miss, he hopes that the horse just collapses and rolls on him and kills him that way. You know, that's a great little.
She's got all things covered. She's
Right,
yeah.
right. Because they wore so much armor, you know, they were really good.
If they fell, they couldn't get up.
He falls over, and then Hereford can like hit him with his spear or whatever, or the horse rolls on him. One of those things.
It was like a ransoming nobility was a big cottage industry then, you know, because once they fell and they were off their horse, they couldn't get back up. So they would be held for ransom.
Oh,
yeah. Well, that's also that's one of the
they were doing, yeah, or they killed them. You know, a lot of times it was they had these kind of family things, or if two, like some of the plays in two sides, if like, but which play is the one we have 6 knights behind you, and if you lose, then all 6 knights get killed along with you? Which one of Shakespeare's play is that? They each side brings.
That's Two Noble Kinsmen. That's the.
They're right. They all get killed. If along with the guy who fights, their backups get killed or sent to prison and die if they lose, if they're losers. So you have these 6 guys who are selected by the guy who is going to fight to take their lives, give up their lives if he loses. You know, it's like
with friends like that.
Yeah. Yeah, really. I mean, and I think that's one of the things, though, that I mean, Henry V, there's this scene that is often cut in production of like the comic thing where Pistol gets the French soldier and wants to keep him for a ransom, and he's going to do that, and then Henry puts in the call that they have to kill all their prisoners because.
Right.
Which actually happened, and which the French consider a war crime. But I mean, from the English point of view, well, I mean, it's also, though, you're in the middle of a battle. You've got prisoners, and you don't have enough people to guard the prisoners when you're being attacked again. So it's, you know, it is war. You know, it's not a picnic. But also that was the thing with the French, why they lost so many was because it was a muddy field, and they had all of these really big heavy armors, and the English were mostly archers, you know, and the French hadn't learned from like what Edward III had done at Crecy with the archers, the English longbow. I mean, was really powerful and very effective, and that's how they won. And also, it's like the French were attacking down into this like thing that got narrower, so they couldn't even do something, and so the more nimbler, less armored English were able to just go through and kill a lot of them that way.
Yeah, The English were ordered by one of the kings of those periods. The peasantry was ordered to train in longbow.
Yeah.
So they were all, every they had a lot of people who could do it.
Yeah, yeah, no, that was something that was an English thing that the English did. I think it may have been Edward the First or something, but it was like for generations. So that's why, because it really took a lot of upper body strength to be able to really do those longbows, and that was the thing. You could do it very quickly as opposed to a crossbow. You got to reload it, and So
I think that's what happened with the Greeks. Like women were trained. Like the Amazons, all women were trained in boxing role and to defend themselves and defend, if they got into trouble, they were trained groups of them. That's why they were all so strong. They rode chariots too, because that was part of their training in youth of being able to defend themselves and being able to fight. That's why they talk about Amazons, but a lot of just, women naturally were trained. That's what I remember reading, that women were trained in gymnastics in order to be able
I've got a Greek one too.
okay, let's hear the Greek.
This is the old servant from Iphigenia at Aulis. Why are you darting about outside your tent, King Agamemnon? Still there is silence and all is here. The guards on the walls do not stir. Come, let's go inside. I do not admire this man who leads us. It was not so you could find success everywhere, Agamemnon, that Atreus begat you. You must meet with both joy and sorrow, for you are only human. Even if you do not like it, what the gods will be. But you fail to understand this. No, you have lit a lamp and you're writing on these tablets that you still hold in your hands, and you constantly erase what you've written, seal the tablets up, break them open, and fling them to the ground, all the while shedding a big rich tear down your cheeks. And in your helplessness, you lack no symptom of madness. What troubles you, my king? What new sorrow oppresses you? Come talk it over with me. You'll be speaking to a good and trustworthy person. Old Tyndareus sent me as part of your with your wife as part of her bridal dowry long ago.
Great, thank you so much. That's wonderful. It's
What is that from?
That's from Iphigenia at Aulis, which I did at Symphony Space with a Greek company.
Oh,
Many years ago, many decades ago. I was playing old when I was like not old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's fun.
Oh, it's so great, and it's so great in New York. There is so much, and even in the past, because New York was such an immigrant hub, there was of course many theaters. I mean, there's Spanish language theater also in New York. There actually Bill Bleckenberg, who's been in a lot of instant Shakespeare things. I saw recently he was in a Spanish language production, but there used to be a lot of different things. There was the Yiddish theater, there was Italian theaters, there were a lot of different things that people would go to. I mean, Second Avenue used to be, just all of the Yiddish theater.
A cousin of my grandfather's was a writer, an actor, and director in Yiddish theater on Second Avenue, and then his son or grandson, somebody like that wrote Great White Hope. So
Wow.
there's theater, there's the disease of theater is, there.
Yeah, well, I actually, when I was in college, myself and my actually roommate at the time, Greg Petiti, we did an interview. We did interviews with members of the Artef theater group, which was a Yiddish workers theater. They were communists and theater people and workers, and they put on productions that were well enough received that they were actually on Broadway. I mean, to think about that, in the 30s, you had Yiddish communist theater on Broadway. And part of their thing was because they would like you could pay once and just keep coming back to see it.
I love that.
And the thing that was really sort of just so inspiring for me, in interviewing them was also. I mean, there was one of the members I remember in particular was Herschel Rosen, who was this old guy, but he was really feisty. And I mean, he told me this story about how, like, when he was on a subway and somebody tried to rob him, and he started beating him up and then getting locked off the train when he couldn't get him, but just that he still had that sort of fighting spirit. And I was like, so if you worked all day and then, like, you rehearsed all night, when did you sleep? It's like, we didn't sleep. We didn't need to sleep because the art was what was giving us the power to keep going. That's what we were doing it for. That's what got us through the day, was because we were getting that experience for it.
What years were those?
It was in the early 30s.
But Stella Adler used to talk about those people all the time. She was very into, like, Clifford Odets and all the
workers' theater. Sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was Yiddish theater royalty. I mean, Jacob Adler, I mean, was one of the greats of Yiddish theater, who also very famously, I mean, did the Yiddish King Lear, and also did the Yiddish did Shylock on Broadway, where he did it in Yiddish and the rest of the cast was in English.
Wow.
Which is also, I just, when I read about that, I was like, wow, that's really amazing. And also, it's really great sort of reading his memoir. I mean, because one of his Lula Rosenfeld did a really great biography of him, and also, I mean, has put together a lot of his the writings that he did, and that his whole point as Shylock was that he really wanted to scare the shit out of Antonio, but he was going to stop at the last minute, and that Portia stops him before he can stop. So that as a different interpretation to the way that most people view it and see it, and can also justify it. I mean, because the way Shylock is treated in that play, I mean, like, it is. I mean, and like, I don't feel that it is an anti-Semitic play, but there's a lot of anti-Semitism in it. Now, I mean, if you want to look at, like, The Jew of Malta by Christopher Marlowe, that is an anti-Semitic play, I would say. I mean, but I really think that that's one of the great things about Shakespeare, and why with the Instant Shakespeare Company we do all of Shakespeare every year, is that he really believed in the humanity of all of his characters, and that there's even in Iago and Richard III and Edmund, even in, like, the worst, there's something you can identify with and understand where they're coming from. And their humanity. And for me, Shylock has always been one of the most fascinating characters.
Very interesting.
Because he's like that way. He's right on the cusp, and you can play him, and it can feel different ways.
Well, I can't identify with Richard III. Supposedly the real Richard had a beautiful face, even though he had a humpback. So it wasn't like he was only physically ugly, but he was really mean. He just, like, he didn't care who he killed, children, anybody. He really.
But we don't
see
know
any saving grace in him at all. In Richard, he's just a mean little bastard who blames the whole world because he was born with a hump.
But the thing is that that's how Shakespeare's presenting him in that, because he can't present him as good because it was the opposite party to the Tudors, so he can't.
Pity him because
we don't know. We don't know.
Like, that's the way we look at things in the modern world. The guy only had one leg. What do you expect? We try to justify people murdering others in that kind of respect, but that doesn't mean we truly accept it in our insides, but we justify things that we don't truly.
But we don't really know that the way Shakespeare portrayed Richard was how Richard was.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of evidence. I mean, there is some evidence still to suggest that it may have been accurate, but there is a very big historical question there. And I mean, it is. There's actually the really great novel Daughter of Time by Josephine Tay, where it really goes into in a mystery thing, sort of looking at the mystery of Richard III, and that he may not have done it. There's actually a play by Maxwell Anderson called Richard and Anne, which also takes this view. And there's the Richard III Society. I think they're referred to as
Yeah.
Ricardians, who are like, this is a total sort of, I mean, PR job, hatchet job on Richard III, who does not deserve that. He was like the last of sort of he was the last Plantagenet. He was the last of the true English kings, which sort of led to the fact of you got the Tudors, and then after the Tudors, you got the freaking Stuarts, where you got the Scottish kings and then it's not even bad enough having people from Scotland, then they end up taking people from Germany, House of Hanover. I mean, all of these I'm like, we all know about George III, right? That's why this country is independent, because we got fed up with those kings,
What are you talking when you say taken? You mean they're invaded by them, or they win?
No. What happened actually when Queen Anne died in around 1701, she did not have any children. So at that point, they wanted some royalty from Britain, some from Europe somewhere, who had some ties to the Stuart house, because she was the last with any Stuart. So the daughter of James I, Elizabeth Stuart, had married actually some king who was who was the Protestant fighting the Catholics. The Catholics won, but he was a king like around Prague and around Central Europe, Holy Roman Empire. But the Catholic Holy Roman Empire won, and this Elizabeth Stuart and her husband lived in exile. She had kids, so she was a Stuart. She was James's daughter, James I's daughter. She had kids, and when they were looking for somebody with some connection, they found her daughter Sophia, who was married to a German king, Hanover. So you had through the female, since the Brits recognized female line, which the French didn't, Salic law. They went to the daughter of the Stuart, the granddaughter of a Stuart king, who was married to a German, and they installed that.
Well, that's what my girlfriend, she's an Australian, but her father was English. They moved to Australia, but her father was in the English army when they went to Australia. And she says basically there's a German line in all these English people. They're basically
they were married off to the German royal family.
Right.
So that
she was always combating between the Tudors, she was always she was always kind of pissy. They're not really English, right?
They're Welsh.
Yeah, no, it's right. It's right. And I mean that's also, I mean, when these Germans, this is sort of the idea of the very sort of proper BBC received pronunciation English accent, where you don't pronounce your R's and things like that. That really comes from when the Germans came over, and as they spoke English, that it's like, hey, the way the king's speaking English is the accent you definitely want to speak with. And so that's what happened. And that's why original pronunciation is much closer to like English regional speech than it is to what we now know as proper standard British or standard English, whatever.
And even Royal Shakespeare Company and the British companies, they don't enforce RP anymore. People are up there with their own, I wish Ken were here to hear this, but people just do their original accent, their natural accent for the most part. I mean, they wouldn't have somebody use a really lower class Cockney if they're a king, but they would have them do any kind of regional, not that high RP that, people did 50 years ago. That's not what Royal Shakespeare or any British company is doing anymore.
I just saw a clip. What was Kenneth Branagh's wife? What was her name that he's divorced from? What?
Emma Thompson?
Yeah,
Emma
I
Thompson.
just saw her do in As You Like It, where what's the character's name, where they're always fighting each other, but they end up in love.
That's not As You Like It. That's
yeah, right. I just saw Much Ado. I just saw them on Facebook. I saw her fighting with him when she says you have to go and kill him because he left the girl.
Right. Yeah, he betrayed.
I never saw anybody do it like her in my entire life. She was absolutely enraged. She drove him. He finds out, I'll kill him. She just drove him nuts.
Yeah.
Right. But what was that? All's well that ends it well? Is that
Much
the
Ado About Nothing.
one? That's about nothing.
Beatrice and Benedict. Yeah.
She's Margaret, isn't she, Margaret?
No.
What's her
No.
name? I forgot.
Beatrice.
Beatrice.
Yeah, well, she's Beatrice, right? Well, she just, I forgot his name is Orlando. She just drove him out.
Benedict.
Benedict. Yeah.
What?
Benedict. His name is Benedict.
He drives him out of his fucking mind. I mean, across the wall. You really have to look for it. That scene.
Yeah.
You really don't miss it. It's
Yeah.
like some of the best shows I've ever seen. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's wonderful in it. It really is. It's a very good movie in a lot of ways. I mean, there's so many. I mean, Denzel Washington's in it, you know, and
This wasn't a movie. She's actually doing it on stage.
oh, a recording from when they did it on stage together.
That's right.
Oh wow, that
It
would
was
be
on
nice to see.
Facebook the other day. I couldn't believe it. You can go look for it. I'm sure you'll
Okay.
find it.
All right, because it's great. It's great in the movie. There's also a really good movie, the black and white Joss Whedon version of Much Ado About Nothing is also a really good one with Amy Acker as Beatrice, who I think is really
That's kind of
terrific.
modern one because I saw a kind of modern one where they're
Yeah.
a mafia family on the West
Yeah,
Coast.
exactly.
Oh, good. We watched that when I was at Prague Shakespeare and we were doing that. And I was Dogberry. Somebody had a tape of that and the whole cast got together and we watched that one. And it was like, that's fucking fantastic. Yeah. It was such a good access to, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things where the sort of the modern dress, I mean, makes perfect sense. It works really well. And it is really, I mean, it's Sicily. These are Sicilians, you know, so it's like the whole mob thing is not that far off base, you know.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
But yeah, and I've seen other I saw really great production at Shakespeare and Company, which set it more in a period thing, but also had very much those mob overtones that sort of like when they came back with the news about Don John, they had like a fish, like he sleeps with the fishes sort of visual joke on that. But yeah, I mean, and one of the things that I really like so much about the Joss Whedon one as opposed to the Kenneth Branagh one is Nathan Fillion as Dogberry, because I think
It's a great role.
hysterical. I mean, it is a great role, but
Funny.
unfortunately, I mean, I'm like Michael Keaton is a wonderful actor. He's so good in so many things, but in The Much Ado, I just feel his Dogberry just totally misses the mark. The timing is off. I mean, I don't in reading one of the introduction to Kenneth Branagh's screenplay, Much Ado About Nothing, he's like, oh, and then of course there are the unfunny clowns like Dogberry and Touchstone. And it's like, oh my God, how can they are funny? You just don't get it.
You just have to do them right.
I saw it. I was disappointed in him in that for some reason. He was overacting. I remember thinking, or
Dogberry is over the top though. Dogberry.
yeah, I know, but it was overacting in some way that I just didn't feel like his character. Something in him wasn't the person. You know, like I didn't see him as Dogberry. I don't know. I should have to reread the play and see the character and see why he was not my favorite character. And I usually like him. You know?
Yeah, because it's a hilarious part.
That was the most fun, I think. That was one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life was Dogberry at Prague Shakespeare. It was.
Oh, that I had been writ down an ass.
oh, that he were here to write me down an ass. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Dost thou not suspect my place? Dost thou not suspect my years?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
At one point with the Instant Shakespeare Company, I thought of calling it the American Shakespeare Society. Oh, that I had been writ down an ass.
Yes, people should have T-shirts that say that. Oh, that I'd been writ down an ass. The masters forget not that I am an ass, though it be not writ down.
Great.
Dogberry and see his part. It looks like fun.
Yeah. Actually, I think I'm going to schedule that soon. So, anyways, well, thank you so much. Does anybody have more they want to share, or?
I have one last British one.
Great. Let's have
Okay.
it.
It's contemporary. Little envelope on the hall table as I go out, never mentioned. If there's been anything beyond the call of duty, there'll be that little bit extra. He buys me no end of shoes, footwear, generally. I keep asking myself where it's all going to end, but we'll walk that plank when we come to it. I never had the knack of making things happen. I thought they either happened or they didn't, which is to say they didn't. But now they have sort of. Bernard gets an attendance allowance now, and what with that and the envelopes from Mr. Dunderdale, I can stay on at work and have someone in to look after Bernard. Now, at one point, I said to Mr. Dunderdale, people might find this rather peculiar, particularly in Lawnswood. He said, well, people would be wrong. We are just enthusiasts, you and I, Miss Fawcett. And there is not enough enthusiasm in the world these days. Now, if those Wellingtons are comfy, I just want you very slowly in your own time, very gently to mark time on my bottom. Occasionally he'll have music on. I said once, I suppose that makes this the same as aerobics. He said, if you like. Now we're still Miss Fawcett and Mr. Dunderdale, and I've not said anything to anyone at work. I've learned my lesson there. Anyway, everyone keeps saying how well I look. I suppose there's a word for what I'm doing, but I skirt around it.
That's very good.
Yes, excellent. Thank you so much. What is that from?
That's from Miss Fawcett Finds Her Feet by Alan Bennett.
Oh, Alan Bennett. Oh,
Yeah.
that's delightful. Yes, he was a member of Beyond the Fringe and has written so many really terrific plays.
I worked on something. He has a book called Talking Heads.
Yeah, that's from Talking Heads. It's
Yeah, there's a great part there where
Yeah.
that I worked on where the woman talks about this Indian lover. She's married to a
Oh, yeah.
priest or whatever, and she talks about he owns a grocery store. And she goes and visits him and they make love. It's really great. And then, of course, he leaves one day and she didn't know he was even leaving. He went home to his wife. It's a lovely monologue I worked on. I should look at it. I haven't looked at it in a long time.
All those Alan Bennett's and Talking Heads are really great.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. Now that one, Bed Among the Lentils, is what that's named. And I think I saw there was a recording of it with Maggie Smith doing that one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a great piece, and it's a great thing to realize how much great writing there is out there. How much great stuff is also one of the things also with Instant Shakespeare. We like to celebrate the public domain. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of new things that recently came into the public domain, including Private Lives. Although the Noel Coward estate and Samuel French would have you not think so, because they have a version that they can still charge royalties on that he updated. But if you go back to the original version, that's in the public domain.
I want to do the French maid in that so much. That's one of my Louise, the French maid. And in fact, I've brought in Alice from Henry V as a audition piece when I was auditioning for Private Lives for the French maid.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and just done it really pissy and really.
Yeah, because it's like a French maid. It's like, oh, these fucking English. You know?
Yeah.
I love also that the whole thing of like your French crown. You know, the joke about like being bald from syphilis is French crown, but the French call it English crown.
Right. Yeah, of course. But of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, because it's like, yes, as in the show Yes Minister, it's like they talk about, well, the French have been our enemies since for centuries. You know, it's just recently they've been allies, but for a long time, yeah. But anyways, wait, we just have somebody else has joined us, Michael Gardner. So welcome, and yeah, this is World Theater Day, and so I'm going to see if Michael's got anything he would like to contribute. And
Okay.
as I said, also,
I'm gonna have to go soon.
okay, well, that's fine. We do have, as I say, we're going to have another one at 9 o'clock tonight. And at 7 o'clock tonight, there is the premiere of of this recording from Cat TV of Players, my father's play. which I encourage people to watch, and which I should have you should have gotten an email with that. So all of that.
Okay.
So okay, all right, okay. Take care,
Yeah.
Geraldine.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you
Bye.
for this.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, Michael, we were just sort of probably getting, Ken was here earlier. We've done some things for this. Just wondering if there was anything you wanted to share or contribute. I think Jackie's also wandered away, but we had. So yeah, I mean, we've done this, as I say. We're also doing another one tonight at 9. We're not doing the reading. Michael, my apologies that I'd asked you to do for tonight. We're postponing that for a couple of weeks until April 9th. And but we are doing, but we are encouraging people to watch Players. And then we're having another open forum at 9 o'clock. So, Michael, I don't know if you just wanted to come in to just listen, or if you've got anything you wanted to say. Well, here we are. So I'm going to do just the since for World Theater Day, it's appropriate to do Jaqui's speech. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. First the infant, hewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow. And then the soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honour, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good cape unlined, with eye severe and beard a formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again to childish treble, pipes and whistles in the sound. Last scene of all, that ends this strange, eventful history. The second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, that's, I was trying, I'm trying to do that one in original pronunciation, which is something I also really think is really great. Original pronunciation, we were talking a little bit earlier about how the English accent changed because of the Germans who came in as kings, but that the original pronunciation, when you do that, you get closer to what it sounded like in Shakespeare's time, and so there are a lot more rhymes, things that don't rhyme now, that did. If this be erring upon me proved, I never writ nor no man ever loved. If this be erring upon me proved, I never writ nor no man ever loved. You know, so that's one of the things that's that I really like about original pronunciation. So, Jackie, anything else you want to share or say?
Oh, I think I've had enough for the day. Right?
Okay. Well,
Okay.
thank you so much.
I'm going to go watch your father at 7 o'clock, and I'm going to try to come on at 9 o'clock and see what goes on. Okay? Or see
All right, sounds good.
you for this nice afternoon.
Yes, yes. Enjoy the spring weather.
Okay.
Take care. Bye. All right. Okay. Well, Michael, as I say, I've just if you've got something you want to contribute, or if you want to come back at 9 and we'll do this again. So we've sort of been doing this since just a little after 1. So
I know, but nobody could see or hear me until just now. All right. I'll see you tonight. So the reading is canceled.
it's postponed till April 9th because we're doing the Cat TV is showing Players at 7 o'clock, which is in a link to an email I sent you, and so that's why I decided to.
So I can watch your father's play at 7:30 on a link that you sent me.
Yeah, at 7 o'clock. It's at 7 o'clock on a link.
And at 9 o'clock, you're doing another link of Zoom. I just got on here and you couldn't see or hear me. So
Yeah, well, I did promote you to panelist, but then your camera and mic were off. I don't know what it was.
I don't know why you did. All right, so I'll see you at 7 on the link that you sent me to watch the play, and at 9 o'clock on what link for that?
Yeah, it's the same link. It'll be this link because it'll just be another one of these open forums, and we'll see if other people want to show up and share stuff and talk about the theater. So.
And this is the same link for your father's play tonight too?
No, it's a different link for my father's play. That's in the email. That's
Okay.
through it's for Cat TV in Bennington and
Cat TV. Got it. All right, you sent me that link. I'll watch that tonight at 7.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I'll see you later. I'll come on with you at 9. See you later. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Thanks for coming by. Bye-bye, Michael.
How do I hang up now? Oh, my God.
Okay. All right.